As the driver, you are legally responsible for the roadworthiness of any vehicle when you are driving it on the public road. This is regardless of whether you own it, or it belongs to someone else. To make sure the vehicle is road legal and safe to drive, you should carry out routine vehicle checks. Some of these, such as checking for damage, need to be carried out every time you get into the vehicle to drive. In a supermarket car park, someone may scratch the paint or damage the bodywork or a door mirror with a shopping trolley. It is also important to understand the checks we are about to cover will be carried out in a single walk round. You would normally begin at one corner and check the various components as you pass them. So, you may start with a headlight, then the wing, a front tire, the windscreen and wiper on that side, and so on. Now let us go through all of the checks you should make, and we will discuss the frequency and method of checking them. The easiest way to remember what vehicle checks you need to carry out is to use an acronym. If it is a company vehicle, there should be a logbook to record all of the necessary daily checks. You should be aware you could face disciplinary action if you sign off any checks that you did not carry out. There are two acronyms used generally to help us remember what checks to make. These are powdery and flowery, neither of which are perfect examples, as you will find as we discuss each item separately. Take a few seconds to read this first list out loud. Now do the same for this second list, and then we can go on to consider how to carry out each of the actual checks. P is for petrol and F is for fuel. The arrow to the left of the fuel pump symbol shows that the filler cap is located on the left or right side of the vehicle. Although this is the first letter, you check this when you get into the vehicle. Normally, you carry out the external checks before you open the driver's door, get in and put the key in the ignition. You must also remember fuel is the more appropriate term, as vehicles may use diesel, LPG and be electric. A quick look on social media shows there have been a few attempts by drivers to fill up a Tesla with petrol. Seriously though, in the UK it is estimated that 120,000 people a year put the wrong fuel into their vehicle. After you check the fuel, you should look at the dashboard lights, which are, for the most part, red, amber and green. We look at this further on another slide under the letter E. What do you think that word would be? O is for oils and W is for waters. These are the fluids that lubricate and clean important parts of the vehicle. Both words end with an S, because there are two or more of each of them. With a car, these checks are carried out under the bonnet. On commercial vehicles, such as coaches, some fluids may be located elsewhere on the vehicle. For now, we will concentrate on opening the bonnet, which is a two-stage process for reasons of safety. The first stage is to pull the release lever, which is normally found inside the car. You must then pull the bonnet up and push the second lever, located under the front lip. Once you open and lift it fully, you may need to use a stay to hold it up, or it may have hydraulic rams. Then, identify the engine oil dipstick and the oil filler cap. You also need to locate the brake fluid. Older vehicles may also have power steering fluid. You are not usually able to check the fluid level of the windscreen wash bottle. So, it is best to keep it topped up. The color of the liquid varies according to the temperature range in the environment you are driving. It is your responsibility as the driver to make sure your windows are clean, and you can see out of them at all times. Some manufacturers highlight the things you need to check by using colored caps. Renault often make it very easy to identify these things by using yellow caps, symbols and hooks. It may also be useful to make yourself aware of where the battery is and how to check the connections. You should also look around the engine bay generally for any signs of fluid or air leaks from pipes and hoses. It is important that you understand how to carry out each of the fluid checks correctly. When you check the oil, the car should be on a level road and the engine must be cold. This is because the oil works as a lubricant and you need to allow it to fall down to the bottom. The dipstick takes the measurement from the sump, which again, is at the bottom of the engine. To check the oil, you should first remove the dipstick, wipe it clean, then put it back in the tube. You then remove it again, and now you can check the level, which should be between the minimum and maximum marks. If you put too much oil in, this can cause seals to leak and it may invalidate a manufacturer's warranty. Similarly, you should check the engine coolant, the water, when the engine is cold. This is because when it is hot, the engine water is just below boiling point and it is under pressure. So, if you unscrew the lid, this hot liquid will quite likely burn your skin. When you buy your engine coolant, you will find they come in different colors. This is because they are designed to operate in different climates. Temperatures in some countries reach -30, whereas others will reach 48 degrees. The easiest way to buy the correct fluids is to simply refer to the manufacturer's manual for the correct specification. You check your engine coolant and brake fluid by viewing the level against the maximum and minimum levels. You will find them on the side of both fluid tanks and should be topped up as necessary. The brake fluid tank is positioned at the back of the engine bay, attached to the back wall. You should also check for leaks under the vehicle every day. This, and daily fluid checks, should limit any overheating and engine failure problems. Your responsibility to check your vehicle begins as you walk towards it. As you approach, try to look under the front to check for leaks. You can also see if the vehicle sits on the road normally. It may be easy to spot if you have a flat tire or simply losing pressure for whatever reason. You can also start checking for signs of obvious damage caused by someone else while it has been parked somewhere. You must be aware of and assess any damage to all bodywork parts, window glass, mirrors and the lenses on all of the lights. You must not have any parts sticking out beyond the purpose for which they were designed. You are not allowed to have any white lights visible on the rear of the vehicle, except for the reverse light. Any cracks of the windscreen should not extend into the arc of the windscreen wipers and would cause the vehicle to fail an MOT. Your lights must be working, at all times, while you are on the public roads. This applies, even if it is in the middle of the day and the sun is shining brightly. Obviously, a light bulb could literally fail when you turn them on just to check. For that reason, there is a slight tolerance if you say you have checked them and you were not aware that a particular bulb has failed. It would be hard to argue that both brake lights have failed if you claim to have checked them yesterday, unless there is a wiring fault. So, check your running lights regularly and make sure you are aware of ways you can check them while you are driving. Brake lights can be checked daily if you look in your center mirror to see them reflect off a bus or large truck. If the click you hear from your indicator doubles in speed, one of the bulbs has blown. If you drive at night in an area with a 30 mph speed limit, you can check your front and rear lights. It is best to do it while stationary, perhaps at a red light and again using the reflection off another vehicle. If you quickly turn your lights back to the first setting, you can check the front side lights are working. You can also do the same with your rear fog and reverse lights. Smaller cars may only have one of each. Family-sized and upmarket cars will most likely have two. The only light you physically need to check are those that illuminate the rear number plate, which are a legal requirement. You need to be aware that if you sit with the lights on and the engine is off, you will flatten your battery. That means, you will not be able to start the engine until you get some help. This is the same for any electrical equipment you leave on, because the engine-driven alternator charges the battery. Another confusion with the acronyms is, the E in powdery is for all the electrics, including the lights, whereas the L in flowery is just for the lights. In this slide we will focus on the dashboard and consider the logic of using predominantly the colors red, amber and green. If you think about traffic lights, red means stop, amber means caution and green means go. Now let us apply that logic to the three most important red ones. What do you think this light is for? If you said oil, you were correct, and it only goes out when you start the engine. If it stays on, or comes on while you are driving, you must find somewhere safe to stop and switch the engine off immediately. Then, check the oil level and if necessary call for help because you will wreck the engine if the oil is too low. What about this second light? What is this for? This indicates your battery is not charging, which may happen for a number of reasons. As long as there are no strange noises, you can keep driving. But, you will not know for how long you can continue. You must switch off anything that uses electricity, such as the heater fan, radio, sat-nav and mobile phone charger. If you are in a 30 miles per hour zone, you can switch to side lights. You should aim to go straight home if it is close or go somewhere to get the fault checked and fixed. This is a brake warning light, and it is triggered by either the handbrake or faulty brakes. If you push the handbrake down, but it stays one notch off the bottom, the light will stay on. This may be because the handbrake cable is stretched, preventing it from going fully down. If that is not the problem, make sure you have space around you and then press the brake gently. Assuming they are working, find somewhere safe to pull over, check the fluid level and look for any leaks. Next we will look at 3 important amber warning lights that you need to understand for safety reasons. What problem do you think this light is alerting you to? If you said tire pressures, you would be right. Sensors in the tires alert you to any problems with the air pressure, such as when you get a puncture. Feel what your vehicle is doing and pull into a garage as soon as possible and do a physical check. Any idea what the next one is for? This is meant to be an engine, and it is on because the engine management system has detected a fault. Switch the engine off and start it again to see if it resets. If it stays on and your engine does not run properly, you need to visit your local garage. If the engine seems fine, it is best to get the fault checked out, as the problem could get worse. Finally, can you read this one out loud? This is an abbreviation for the anti-lock braking system. This is a responsive braking system that is designed to improve your safety. Sensors on the wheels detect if you are about to lock the brakes. Just as they lock, it releases the pressure and reapplies it to help stop the car in the shortest possible distance. More about this later. Now, let's look at some green lights. Do you know what this one is telling you? It is just to let you know your side lights and dipped headlights are on. What about this one? This is to show you that your cruise control is switched on and it is set. We will cover how this works in a later lesson. We want you to do some research for this next one. Once you know what it means, ask some friends if they know what it is for. Finally, let's throw in this blue light. What does this tell you? And when should you not use it? The tread on your tires are designed to grip the road and disperse water. They are generally made of rubber and filled with air, both of which help you maintain control of your vehicle. It is vital the tires are maintained in good condition and the pressures are set according to the manufacturer's manual. As the driver, you are responsible for making sure the tires are road legal and serviceable before you start your journey. You must also understand what damage is acceptable and what is not. Under-inflated tires increase fuel consumption and make the handling sluggish. Over-inflated tires reduce the grip and make the car feel like it is on ice, especially at higher speeds. Take a moment to read and understand the minimum legal tread depth for your tires. If you are in any doubt as to the condition of a tire, get someone else to check it before you take the vehicle on the road. Your life may depend on it. Tread wear indicators are molded into the tread of the tire at several points around its circumference. To locate them, look for this symbol on the sidewall or simply run your car key along the bottom of the tread until you feel a bump. What do you think of the wear on this tire? Would you take this on the road? Remember, if it is marginal like this one, you must check all around the tire to be sure. It is inevitable your wheels and tires will get damaged because our roads are not maintained properly. If you damage a wheel because you hit a pothole, you can claim the costs from your local council. An obscure law, however, allows them to avoid liability if they say they have no prior knowledge of the problem. Before assessing the tire for damage, it is important to understand a little of how it is constructed. Its strength comes from the multiple layers, known as ply, built into the rubber molding. So, when you assess any damage, you can understand what is allowed and what is not. You must also learn to recognize problems that lead to greater wear and shorter tire life. Wear on the inner or outer edge of the tire, or if the steering pulls left or right as you drive, indicates your tracking needs resetting. If the steering wheel vibrates at speed, you may have lost a balance weight from a front wheel, and it needs to be rebalanced. If the tire has a bulge, this is a weakness in the sidewall and it can burst at any time and it must be scrapped. You may also see cuts in various directions, and some of them are allowable. Take a look at the criteria for deciding if you need to replace the tire. Your wheels are either pressed steel plate or cast from an alloy. In simple terms, steel wheels bend, alloys lose chunks of metal and can crack. Damage is caused by hitting or mounting curbs too quickly. It may also be by running over debris on the road or driving too fast on poor quality roads. If you catch the curb with an alloy, you will take some metal off the side, which may in turn affect the balance. If you do the same with a steel wheel, you may dent the wheel beyond repair. Even if the tire does not deflate straight away, it is potentially dangerous to drive with any such damage. Your wiper blades, like your tires, are made of rubber and are easily damaged. As you check your bodywork, tires and windows, you should also inspect your blades. As you get to them, lift each one, run your finger along the edge and feel for any cuts. Also, look at the ends to make sure the fine edge that sweeps the screen is not coming away from the body of the blade. You have a legal responsibility to make sure you can see clearly out of the windscreen and other windows. Make sure you know how to operate all of the controls on this list, which will help you to drive safely. If your blades start to screech, it is because the windscreen is dry. So, change your windscreen wash, not the blades, and you will more likely cure this problem. You must be fully alert when you get into a vehicle to drive, even if you are just going to the shops. This means making sure you get enough sleep and are not distracted by any personal issues. If you take medication, check the side effects, as they may affect your ability to drive safely. Drowsiness is a common effect of some cold and flu remedies. Diabetics can easily fall into a coma if they do not follow the prescribed drug and nutrition guidance. Some drugs used to control epilepsy can cause disorientation and confusion. So, instead of avoiding oncoming vehicles, you may steer towards them. If, for any reason, you begin to feel drowsy or unwell on a long journey, you must pull over somewhere safe and take a break. Get out, walk round, to get the blood pumping faster and oxygenate your body. Get a drink, such as coffee or another caffeine-based drink. Eat a bar of chocolate or some fruit to give your body a quick sugar boost. Then you should be able to complete your journey safely. You should now have the knowledge and better understand how to apply the information covered in this presentation. If you need to quickly review any of it, you can refer to the Back to Basics book. Or, you could repeat the whole presentation with someone who may also benefit from watching it.
Now take some time to see if you can answer these questions. If you can write them down, that may help. No need to worry though, as you will go over them quite a few times in other lessons.